Okay, hello there, you beautiful souls. Wow, I'm so thrilled to see you. Thank you so much for blocking out your time to be here. This 90 minutes, as I think I heard Karen say, it might be as traditionally 5 minutes past or so. I have so much I want to share with you. You honor me with your presence. Wow, thank you, thank you. It says a lot about you that, in a sense, you love yourself enough to take care of yourself, to at least be curious, to at least have a growth mindset and consider the possibility that there is something more to learn and to grow with. So I welcome you. Let me just, by the way, close to 300 people have registered, and usually about 25-30% come live, which is standard. But we have much higher number of people coming in live, which is fantastic. That's ideal because some of the things we'll be doing together, not able to do on a replay. So let me just check the screen. Those who I didn't see, welcome. If you want to put on your video, this recording is only for you and only for people who registered, wanted to come in. We'll be sending that out for that. And at one point, if you want, you can go on speaker view. And then, I think it's cool to see each other. But frankly, from a learning point of view, it's far better if you're on speaker view because then you're not distracted by all these beautiful people. They say, "Oh, what's Christy doing back? Oh, that's a beautiful painting back there." Just from that's the one thing with the Zooms and the virtuals. Those of you who've been with me, have studied with me when we do the virtual, I put everybody on. I go on gallery view so I can watch, and everybody else is on speaker view because then you can see the board more easily. You can see things that we're doing and focusing. So that's my recommendation to you. It's really up to you. There's no secret here. It's okay to see each other. I'm just sharing with you what works best from a learning point of view. This is not meant to be a social, it's nice to say hello, but it's not meant to be social engagement. It's meant to be a workshop. So yeah, we call it a master class. So again, you honor me with your presence. And here we are, the end of the year. This has been a tradition for a good many years. Some of you know because you've been coming every year, we usually charge a fee. And I just feel so appreciative of you and the support these past few years. As you know, if you know me, I've been going into my 53rd year doing Silva as an instructor. And I've always been, I don't know, it's not my term, but their term, a top producer. But these past 3 years, I've really hit my mark, so to speak. I've invested very heavily. I believe in continuous learning. I'm constantly looking, and it's like everything just kind of fit into place. And I really thank you for your support, your encouragement, your feedback, because these past 3 years, each year has been better. And I mean substantially, and I feel so humbled by it and gratitude. It's also part of what's going on with the FUPAs. So shout out to Mary and a few others of you. There were a couple of errors with the time. No secret, I was copying and pasting from prior years. The thank you for registering and how to prepare. And it slipped my mind to change the Zoom link on there, let alone the time. Hey, it happens. What are you going to do? Thank you for your patience. So I want to do a little short exercise for you. As you know, I sincerely hope that you and we're in this together. And so typical, people email and say, "Ken, is this correct? Is that?" Thank you, because I didn't notice it. With that, I hope sincerely that you do this kind of reflection on a regular basis. I do a reflection every day, take a look at how the day went, etc. And you see that. But certainly what I like about the end of the year is, collectively speaking, on the planet right now, not just in the Silva community, but in general, it's a time when we're all paying more attention to how the past year went and what we want to do for the new year. Agreed? The answer is yes. By the way, if I ask you a question, would you mind do this for yes? All right, let's practice. What are you gonna do for yes? Karen, show them. And what are you gonna do for no? Or you can wave yes. And if you want to give me a maybe,
Yes.
what do you do for maybe?
Can we ask whoever is not on mute to put themselves on mute? That'd be great.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me. There's a lot of people, so let me take a quick scan. Everybody, if you would mute. See how we help each other. Let me just take a quick look.
Yeah, we also keep getting someone's ceiling fan. I think it's Justine.
Yeah, that's why I go on speaker view. That's the whole point. Go on speaker view and you won't see Justine's ceiling fan.
I
We
am.
Should
We
we
are on speaker view.
on mute, it will flash in.
All right.
Yes, it still flashes in, even though, you know, we put it on speaker view.
Yeah.
Justine's camera pulling.
So do your best, guys. Allow a deep breath. All right. We've only got 90 minutes. I don't want to spend all my time in correcting people. So again, mute yourself, adjust your screen if you're on video so that your body, your face is there. And that will work great. All right. So cool. So I want to do a short exercise just to give you a little context. At the end of the year, I mean, like I said, collectively speaking, in the world at large, let alone the Silva community and in the personal development space, we're all kind of looking at because we want to be better. The one challenge with goals, this is not meant to be a typical goal setting, is most people, you know, you've heard the stories, say, oh yeah, this year I'm going to go to the gym every day. And January 1, the gyms are packed. They don't have enough equipment for everybody. By January, by the end of the week, the place is empty again. Sometimes the very next day. Agreed? You've heard these stories. Maybe you've even witnessed this for that. So we know it's not that people aren't sincere. I think we're sincere is that life sometimes gets in the way, doesn't it? And we're too easily distracted. Some of it has to do with the way we're wired neurologically, biologically. But another thing, by default, we're creatures of habit. So as creatures of habit, we by default, seek a path of least resistance. So my friendly reminder to you is, I would like to thank you for allowing me to help you to kick off the new year. It's going to take consistent application. And I want you to review whatever we do tonight and apply it, because that's how you make it. You got to fire and wire repeatedly. It's not a quick fix to establish a new pattern. So let's make a commitment to ourselves. We're going to go beyond the frivolous, the fickle goal setting, because our goals can change like that. And I'm going to invite you to go a little bit deeper. So in this very short exercise, many of you are Silva Method trained participants. Excuse me. Many of you are not, which is great. This is for everybody. I will refer to tools. So you Silva Method grads, use what you know as we move through today. There isn't obviously enough time to try to teach that. We spend 40 hours, 4 full days, and even that's not enough. Renee's big smile laughing. And then there's a ton of support that I give you after that to help establish that routine. So I promise I'll keep it simple to allow for that. But basically, it's the 3 fingers technique. It's the technique that started it all. Way back, that act of love, Mr. Silva was concerned about helping his children to learn faster, to learn easier. And there was a real concern so that they would get a good education. So he kind of stumbled into this, but this is what kicked it off. He was researching accelerated learning, more effective learning, what became known, by the way, as super learning, which has always been a part of our program. And it worked beautifully. The children were improving. They were learning faster, learning easier, needing less repetition. You may know my story. I was flunking out of college, and by learning and applying the 3 fingers technique, the learning strategies, I graduated cum laude, and I was working full-time in the Boston area teaching Silva at night and on weekends, and during the day, full-time college student, making up some of the things I had failed. So it's not magic, but when you have the right training and you have the right tools, it is a lot easier. And we can really then bring out our natural genius. And I do believe we all have natural genius-like capabilities because we all have a brain. It's a matter of learning how to utilize it, learning how to focus it, learning how to develop it. So I highly recommend, whether you're a Silva grad or not, before you go to an important business meeting, before you start your day, even better, own your morning. before you read a book that you want to learn from, before you attend a meeting, a workshop. Simple thing, it'll take you a few minutes. Eyelids closed, few slow deep breaths. Grad, you'd use 3-to-1 method. And you just simply think about your intention, what it is you're about to do, and what's your intention while you're reading what you're reading, while you're going to go to this meeting, what you want to get out of it. And you give yourself a suggestion that you're going to have superior concentration, superior understanding, and you'll hear what you need to hear. And then when we're done, in the interest of time, I'll just, as your guide, since we have a group of nearly 100 people here live, I'll count to 5. And at 5, recommend you open your eyelids, be awake, be alert, so we all stay focused together rather than wait for people who may want to stay longer, because it can be a very blissful experience. When you get this baby rolling, on a daily basis, it's how to sustain it. So let's do it. You ready? And make sure you're on mute. I'm going to put myself on speaker view for the purpose of this, for the replay on that. And I can still see you up on the side. I'm going to use the alpha sound very quietly in the background. We call it the alpha sound. It was developed by Mr. Silva in the mid-'80s somewhere. And we affectionately call it the alpha healing sound. And I'm just going to have it on very softly in the background, very quietly in the background. Put this here. I'm going to have to put it up here, sliding. Karen, as in Karen Myers, can you hear the alpha sound? Hang on one second. Change the setting. I just want it very softly, Karen. Lower? Is that what you mean? Thank you. Karen's a long-term Silva grad. We've been around the block a few times together. I've also had anyway. So please allow your eyelids to close as long as you're comfortable and it's safe to do that. This is the difference that makes the difference, these dynamic meditations. And now with your eyelids closed, allow a very slow cleansing breath. You can make believe, imagine you are breathing in peace. Hold it briefly, and then while exhaling, desire to relax, to release any stress, distress. Allow another very slow deep breath, breathing in peace. Hold it briefly. And while exhaling, releasing any tensions, allowing your body, your brain, and your mind to continue to relax and go deeper. Allow another very slow, deep breath, breathing in energy and peace. Hold it briefly. And then while exhaling, release any tensions, desire to relax and go deeper. How good it feels to progressively relax deeper and deeper. It is a wonderful, healthy state of mind and body. You may take a moment now to just reflect briefly on this past year, some of your wins, some of the opportunities that were part of your life, some of the people perhaps that you spent quality time with, or maybe even some new friends. Anything, anyone that you feel good about, that you're happy about. And just allow yourself to feel positive, to feel the joy. Exaggerate it a bit. Elevate that feeling. You may have made some breakthroughs this past year. Scaled up your business. Enhanced the relationship. Managed to take off a little bit of weight and improve the quality of your health. As you reflect on it, feel it. As a result, how has this benefited you in your life? And express sincere gratitude, whatever your spiritual persuasion is. Relax. Today, you're attending the end of the year 2023 Reflection Masterclass, an opportunity to reflect on and renew yourself, re-energize yourself, and add a spark of energy and enthusiasm while developing some skills to allow your best self to emerge in the coming new year. Take a moment to reflect on your personal intention. What's important to you? What would you like to be better able to improve, to enhance, to change? And what would it be like if indeed you made this change, this improvement? How will it benefit you in your life? How will it benefit anyone you care about? During the masterclass, you will hear and experience what you need to enhance the quality of your life. You will enjoy superior concentration, superior understanding. Noises will not distract you. In fact, they'll help you to concentrate even better. If you know and have developed the three fingers technique, remember you may use the three fingers technique to enhance your concentration and focus. In a moment, I'll count from 1 to 5 and cause a sound with my fingers. And at that moment, you may open your eyelids, be wide awake and alert, feeling fine and in excellent health, feeling much, much better than before, feeling revitalized, feeling refreshed and rejuvenated, feeling much, much better than before. 1, 2, coming out slowly now. 3, at the count of 5, you may open your eyelids, be awake, be alert, feeling fantastic. 4, 5, eyelids open, wide awake and alert, feeling fine and in excellent health, feeling much better than before. Woohoo! Welcome back, you genius, you. Looking good, looking good. Short and sweet, that's all it takes for a meeting. If you want to just stretch it out a little bit, shake, make sure you're back. Some of you look like you went really deep, like April. I'm going to have to call it name. I mean no disrespect, but welcome back, April. Let me just take a look at everybody else. One time I did a teleconference before we had Zoom, and the next day I'll always remember this, I tell this story frequently. John, who has been a client of mine too, mentor client, he called me up, he was so apologetic. I said, what are you talking about? Because I couldn't see anybody. He said, I was on the call with you, it was great, but you did that exercise, and the next thing I know, it was hours later, and I still had my headset on, and you were long gone, probably in bed for that. So let me just look, make sure everybody is back. Okay, one challenge. I also want you to know that we're back to in-person classes. That's the way to roll. However, I am pleasantly surprised those virtuals come pretty darn close to the in-person events. There are some obvious differences and distinctions, but that's why I keep it to 38 people in the class. And I'm the 39th, so everybody's on my screen, and I don't have to scroll through screen after screen or have this big sea of people, and people are lost in the crowd. So you get my undivided attention. Obviously tonight, you're getting my attention, but not quite the same. So please allow a deep breath. And what I'm about to share with you is not in your workbook. Remember the workbook? I hope you downloaded it. It's very simple, short and sweet. And I want to use this as some exercises, but to set the stage, to give you some context that will add clarity for you so that you'll know better what to answer, what to when we go through questions in the book. So this is just me adding some information, background. What I'm about to share from you, as you know, like I said, I'm a continuous learner. I believe there's always more to learn, other ways to improve, new ways to look at. Life changes, trends change. People, we go through different aspects. And it's really exciting time because there's been so much more research, brain science research, high performance studies, university studies on what works, what doesn't. No fluff, no theories with that. So I got to cut to the chase and dive in here and say to you, what I'm about to share with you comes from working with thousands and thousands, not me, but thousands of people researching what are the distinctions that help people who are high performers, meaning they enhance. They seem to be very lucky. Whatever they do, it works out. They're constantly growing, improving, and so on, whether it be in their health, in their business, in their relationships. You get the idea with that? So what I want to begin with, you're welcome to copy down just briefly some of this. You may want to, for sure, put yourself on speaker view so it's just me on the screen and the board. It'd be much easier to read. There isn't going to be time for me to repeat things for that. And I'm on gallery view so I can, see most of you as I scan with that. So let's take a look. The question is, what stops us? Think for a moment. What stops you in your life from being your best? What has been holding you back from improving, from going to that next level, from even just improving and making some of the changes that you so want to? And often you're doing the work. I mean, if you're not doing the work, good luck. I haven't met a human being alive who can tell me they use the tools every day consistently and they're not getting results. But I hear people say, well, it's not going too good for me. And I say, well, how many times a day are you doing your dynamic meditation? Well, maybe twice a month, every other week. It's like, okay, you're missing the boat. And I say it tongue in cheek, but I think you know what I'm saying with that. So let's take a look. And I'm pretty sure you should be able to see this. What stops us is the question. 3 kinds of thinking. First is bad thinking. All we mean by bad thinking is dread, feeling dread. Waking up in the morning and say, oh, it's going to be a sugar show. There's another word that people use. I know it seems to be trending and everybody uses the big F-bomb and all the words. I'm still a little old school with that, so I'll stay with it. But you know what I mean. Can you see how if what you're doing, if you are dreading the relationship you're in and the interactions and the conversations that are needed, how that will hold you back from making any progress? Can you see that? Yes or no? Can you see in your business, in your work, if you're dreading going to another day? How in the world can you expect to be at your best? Because it creates distress and the body starts getting loaded with stress enzymes. So I'll cut to the chase and say, the key, my friends, is for you and I to do anything it takes to stay out of survival mode, out of fear mode, out of stress mode. Because when that happens, our body gets flooded with stress hormones and it can become toxic. And when it becomes toxic, it's all about protection and defensiveness. Is anybody in your life is very defensive? When you make a suggestion, they get all defensive and, "Argh!" Yes? Is anybody you work with like that? Maybe even live with someone like that? It's an example. When somebody's in stress mode, it's nearly impossible for your best self to come out. We also know, brain science, when you're in stress mode like that, you're not going to access higher thinking functions of the brain, and you're not going to access your intuition. And you're going to get into desperation, scarcity consciousness, and make desperate moves and wind up making things in the long run worse. Again, can you see that? Second is out of alignment. Well, of course, those of you who see a chiropractor, we may even have some chiropractors here. We know that our posture is very important, and we need to be alignment. Sometimes people are getting headaches. Sometimes there's aches and pains because we're out of alignment. There's, a bone out of place, or I'm not a chiropractor, but I go regularly, and I have fun. The chiropractor is very open to this work. We talk about meditation and share things with each other. And so, boy, I just did a class and she said, boy, you're out or whatever, but it makes a difference. But the kind of alignment, I would say, in terms of thinking is when you're being asked to do things that you know are wrong and you feel obligated because you don't want to disappoint someone and you're trying to please them. Yes, can you relate? I see some of you nodding. Or it's a boss, a manager, and you don't want to risk losing your job. Agreed? Those of you who know me, I'm known for having a big mouth, and I love it. And I feel very proud of myself. I am not a yes man. I've never been. I work personally with Jose Silva. I'm the guy he chose in '84 to lead the charge, do advanced training. For better than 35 years, I've been responsible for developing new instructors. And in the recent 10, 20 years, it's hard to keep track, 15 years at least, I'm the training director. Even with that, I didn't always agree with Jose. I didn't always agree with policies. And the only way we can grow is if you get feedback, and you work with it. You do it respectfully. So some people are in a toxic work environment and they're out of alignment with their values. And their values are very different than the corporate mentality. Not all corporations are like that, you know that. But some are. And some are. People are being put in really challenging positions. Can you relate? Some of you are that. Again, can you see how that would get in the way? You're going to hold back. Second, bad habits. I got to roll through this. Overcommitment. Overcommitment. I'm going to repeat it. Overcommitment. I have to acknowledge the oops is on me with the time. And I admit, this is one of the things I'm committing to this year. I've already started making the changes, is to not just own my morning, but to own my day and my time. And to not take on more than I have the physical, mental, and emotional energy to handle. I've had so many more. I've had more than 3 times as many new students each year. And as you know, when you go through training with me, you get me. And I give you a commitment where I'm mentoring you. We have that one-on-one coach call. That takes a lot of time. Then we do a reunion, and then I've got to send out follow-ups and so on. And then I mentor grads who get stuck, and I have a commitment to them. Now I'm mentoring a whole new team of instructors. Takes a lot. And the lesson is, can you relate in your own life? If we take on more than we have the bandwidth for, it's going to be hard to be at our best. So I'm owning those mistakes because I was rushing doing other things, and also the holidays. I'm a family guy, and I give a lot of time to my family and my friends. And I don't want to work on holidays, but I don't have a big staff. And I'm not fully automated, so certain things I have to do even on Christmas. I don't think I did anything, but you know what I mean. So the challenge is, if we're overcommitted, we're more likely to go into stress mode, and we're more likely to make silly mistakes. And there were two today. I didn't proofread and remind myself, because I've been doing this every year, so it saves me time. And I used the same email, but all I had to do was change the time and add the new Zoom link. and it slipped my mind to do it. Those are the kind of, so forgive me. I'm forgiving myself. I'm a lot better. I used to really beat myself up and get so upset and curse at myself. Now I just say, oh, brother, I gotta fix it. Not owning your morning. I say this, if you've been through training with me, it's a good reminder. Please, I beg you, for your own sake, it's your life, it's up to you. First thing in the morning, stay away from the bloody TV, stay away from your phones. We're all too addicted to our phones. Stay away from social media in the morning. When you first wake up in the morning, even if you're not a meditator, there's like 30 minutes. It could be a little longer, but minimum 30 minutes. It's called the golden time, where you are still in a highly suggestible alpha theta state, because you just came out. In the early morning, the last 90 minutes of sleep, it's mostly light sleep, alpha type sleep. And all the research shows since 1966, Silva, let alone brain science now, when we can get into this state of being and lower our brainwaves in this state, we learn, it's a super learning state. It's a superpower, so to speak, which is how it saved me in school. So if you go into social media, it might be a lot of distractions. It might be some negativity, let alone the news. Watch it as often as you like. But those first 30 minutes, have a glass of water and meditate. And if you're Silva grad, do your 5, 10, ideally 15 minutes. Then, so what I'm saying to you, my friends, is I am excellent at owning my morning. I have a 3-hour routine between exercise, meditation, how I like to eat. I make a really nice specialty blend, cappuccino, latte, and then I go to work. Now my next step is to fully own my day. Because oftentimes, when I say about owning your morning and owning your day, is people will contact you and say, I need your help. But meanwhile, you have your whole schedule blocked out. I don't know if this person's on the call or not, but somebody's contacted me at least 3 times, wanted to have a call, had some questions. So I set up some times, not specific. I gave a window of time, and each time, no show, didn't work out. I'm not going to do it again. You got to respect your own time, because it takes me away from other people, other appointments I might have made during that time. Can you relate? Just give me a yes. Thank you, David. Santa Claus. Third one, bad relationships, which we looked at a little bit. Being in a toxic environment and being with unsupportive peer group. I know some of us are living alone. You know, Barbara and I live together. All of our children are grown and gone. But it's so important to spend as much time as possible with people who, they may not agree with you politically or otherwise, but they support you. And they say, you go for it, Chris. You go for it, Lisa. You can do it. Come on, Dora. Come on, get in there. Right? Instead of saying, oh, really? What are you smoking? Oh, you have friends like that? Or people who make fun? It makes a difference, because by our very nature, it's basic Maslow, we like approval. And it's important for our brain health that we have social interaction. What I'm suggesting is let's have quality social interaction. Spend time with people who will, whether they be like-minded. You've got an opportunity here. There are several people here who every Sunday I publish their email address. They are conducting graduate support groups from specifically my Silva community, although I've branched it out to other instructors. So you have 7 days a week an opportunity to have a short meeting with fellow grads in small groups to practice, to share ideas. Very important. Make sense? Okay, so let me go to the next page. This will help you as we go through the series of questions here. So let me leave that there and flip this chart here. I know in the advertisement I mentioned about 10 things. There's overlap with what I just did. So 7 reasons you're not getting what you want. So I encourage you to reflect here and look honestly at yourself. Take an honest assessment. Not beat yourself up. Do it compassionately. Recognize All you and I can do is the best we can do. Agreed? That's the lesson for all of us. We need to stop beating ourselves up and recognize some things are just not within our control. Or if you're making the effort, then celebrate it. Of course we want to get results, but it's very different than somebody who just complains and complains. And if you live with or spend time with someone who's in complaint mode, how do you feel? How many of you feel like jumping for joy when you're with somebody who's chronically complaining? You're ready to run away, right? Thank you, Bob. A nice emphatic no way. Of course not. Because at complaint mode, they're in stress mode. And what they don't realize is they're doing more damage. They're inadvertently mentally rehearsing what they don't want. Remember this age-old principle. Whatever you give attention to, you give energy to. And whatever you give energy to will grow and multiply. And when people, hey Yeti, thank you for reminding me in the email. When people are in complaint mode, they're mentally rehearsing without realizing it, what they don't like and what they don't want. And I know I'm talking for the most part to the choir here, but we all slip a little bit, don't we? One of my complaints is I go for a walk every day in this beautiful Farmington Valley where we make our home, and I see trash on the ground, and I see empty little liquor bottles, those things they give you in the airlines and the flights. I know they weren't mine. They weren't anyone in my family. No one was even here. And I used to find myself getting caught up cursing them. Now I say, God bless them. I hope you learned your lesson, figure it out. Sometimes I bless them with, unfortunately, some people missed a few rungs on the evolutionary ladder. That helps me just kind of release some of it rather than bad mouthing. So number one would be motivation. Motivation is key. And motivation comes from within, but we need to spend time focusing on the benefits. It's important to look at the intrinsic benefits, the benefits for you. So when you're programming for a goal, a change, a new business, enhancing a business, a more romantic relationship, a better conversation with your children. Of course, there's value for us. What's far more powerful, though, is the intrinsic is the most powerful, but also what's in it for them? How will they benefit? So it's important not to be, how can I say this, in a greedy mode, so to speak. Why would somebody want to have a relationship with you? Why would somebody want to do business with you? What do you bring to the table? Some of you Silva instructors here, why would somebody want to take the training with you? What do you bring to the game that's your specialty that's going to help them to transform their lives? That's the key to building motivation. And I want to read something to you. I've been doing a lot of reading and research for you for this. And are any of you familiar with this work, Stealing Fire, by Stephen Kotler and Jamie Wheel? Depending on you, it might be a really good read. I loved reading it because they're doing a lot of research on what's become known as a flow state, that a famous psychologist coined that expression. In Silva, we say we don't believe in good luck. We believe that we can create what looks like good luck by being in alignment when our values are in alignment with our goals, when our values are in alignment with, or our actions are in alignment with our values. So they're doing a lot of really good university studies, not theoretical, and they're testing it, and that's all I'm going to say. And some of the people, a lot of the people, they go back since the 70s, I studied with. I almost wish I could turn the clock back because I think I was a cocky young kid. I started when I was 19 in college, and all these famous people, I studied with, I had meetings with them because of my work with Jose, and I was like, okay, this is cool. But I didn't give it a second thought until now. Now I look back and go, wow. So, I'm dropping all my books. I just believe in giving some credit. This is based on the research. So it's talking about how to boost, I'm going to read it to you, your motivation, how to sustain motivation. So I'll give you some ideas that will help us as we get ready for these exercises. First, you want to leverage your learning. Be a continuous learner. Have a growth mindset, in other words. But do learning that has direct impact on your life, on your career, on your work, on your interests. My family laughs at me, but I rarely read a novel. I rarely read science. I watch science fiction, but I don't read it. Most of the books I read have to do with personal development, brain science, things that help me to understand better the nature of this work for my own life, and so I can be a better facilitator for people. It's important to also get immediate feedback. So when we're learning something, a new skill, and we're applying that skill, it's important to get immediate feedback. Even before this, in the earlier studies called peak performance studies, it's been found consistently that it's called deliberate practice. When you get immediate feedback, that is the best way to learn. It makes the strongest impression, and you're more likely to hold on to it. So for example, in the Silva class, remember, guys, gals, in doing that? Right, even in day one, you're learning some various tools and techniques. And I have you, okay, how did you feel coming in? And I have you, as we go through all the guided meditation, how do you feel? And take an assessment. And then as you apply the techniques to wake up without your alarm or to sleep better, etc., you're getting immediate feedback. Agreed? And then I remind you, the primary purpose of the Silva training is intuition. Awakening, developing a high level of mastery so that you can trust your intuition, make better decisions, solve more problems. So on day number 3, you get immediate feedback. You're one-on-one with somebody and you get an idea, you intuit something, and they tell you basically yes or no. And then you begin to compare when you were accurate with when you weren't. And when you do that repeatedly, you recognize patterns. And then we spend 3 hours on day 4 with what we call caseworking, which really so often is like the icing on the cake. It's the most effective way to learn something. You can't do it intellectually is the point. Another point he talks about is doing things that you're good at and doing them repeatedly because it builds up confidence. And when we have confidence, we're going to be more courageous to maybe do something different. Make sense? So if you have a skill or something and you do it, doesn't mean you only do that, but you do it frequently, but then you feel good about getting that feedback. Let me look at a couple more. I took some notes here for you. It's a long paper, no time to go through the whole thing. Another aspect is, and this I notice more and more, is to love what you're doing. I'd be tempted to ask how many of you could say that whatever you're doing in your life now, you enjoy, maybe even you love. There's a saying, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life, which is misleading. I'm looking at Jill with a smile and knowing a little bit about you and others. You put a lot of time in, you put a lot of energy in. That's work. But we tolerate it, we don't really notice it, and we certainly don't complain because it fits into our big mission, our big why, our purpose for what we do. So one of the things I want to recommend tonight as we go through the exercises, start reflecting on what is the contribution you want to make. And those of you who took Silva prior to 2007, you know the new exercise we have, working with our intuition, we call connection to purpose. Helping people to realize more and more their personal individual contribution and how to be more in purpose, which is a key for sustaining motivation. And people often say, how in the world, Ken, don't you ever get bored? I'm teaching the same coursework hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. And the answer is, I would be bored, and I relate to it very differently, but every time I meet new people, a new group, you bring it to life for me. And it's you that keeps me because it fits into that purpose. I do believe as you and I become better and better and improve, we're going to be easier to live with. We're going to be easier, better to work with. And that's going to help the community, the family, the community, the nation, maybe even the world. Remember, we're in 111 countries, with respect to that. People keep showing up, by the way. So opportunity cost, another reason why is meaning when you look at, especially in your business, if you want to scale it up, it's going to cost you a lot of time. You're going to need maybe more staff. You're going to need maybe bigger facilities. You're going to need more of an organization. Agreed? It's going to be more demanding. Let's face it, the more you grow business-wise, the more demands are on your time. Don't let anybody kid you on the internet say, oh yeah, how I did 500 million in 30 days. I know I'm exaggerating, but that's what some of them sound like, for that. So opportunity, one reason why people are not getting what they want is they may not even consciously recognize, in order to make that change, something's got to change, and am I ready for that change? It's also called lack of a future identity and not owning it. Third one would be confidence, which we talked about. So start small, right? Start small goals. This year, if any of you do want to take off a little bit of weight, go for 3 pounds. All right, you took it off. That builds some confidence. Okay, I made some progress. It's not big progress, but it's better to make progress, consistent steps, rather than trying to do it all at once. Our health and energy. All the research shows when we meditate every day, our health improves. We boost our immune system. And if you've gotten a cold, a head cold, a virus, cancel, COVID, or anything like that, it's hard to function, isn't it? It's hard to be at your best. It's hard to have that energy and wake up with that enthusiasm. So we also need to take care of ourselves. We'll go back to lack of social support, peer group, people who have your back. People who have your back. Choose your friends wisely. I've come to realize that there are friends, people I really enjoy, people because I work with them and we share a mission, a purpose. And I've noticed that often when they leave, there's no more contact with them. Not 100% of the time, which is okay. It just means we had a friendship and alliance based on a shared mission. And then they've stopped doing that work. Make sense? And then lack of resources. A friend of mine does volunteer work helping people to build new businesses. And he says it's amazing how sometimes people come in and they don't know any of the fundamental basics about building a business. So they're lacking the resources. It's not just about the money, the capital, but the resources, the talent, the skill set. It's a rude awakening for many Silva instructors. Those of you who go way back with Silva in our heyday, most Silva instructors I know do it for the love of it, if not all, and knew zero about marketing. And we always used to say, if I get a good marketer to market my classes, because I love to teach. It's not good enough anymore. Man, the times have changed. Being well-intended in your business is not enough. We need skills, and we need to move with the times. We need to be flexible. That's why I'm still here and probably doing better than ever, because I've been flexible and I've moved with the times, and it took a lot, of study, and it's still ongoing. Look what just happened today. So resources. This future identity, I want to close today with an exercise that will help you with that. And the future identity has to do with mentally rehearsing a better you, a newer you, a happier you, a healthier you, to a point where it becomes so commonplace you're owning it at an emotional level. Even though it's not there yet physically, when we own it at an emotional level, we're more likely to sustain our motivation to move. You still with me? Give me a yes, Ken. I hope this is helping, guys. Please forgive me. The lesson I continue to remind myself is I often want to attempt to do too much. And last and not least is, I'm not going to use the word, but there's an expression he was using, which you're familiar with in different ways, to have FU money. You know what I mean? if you can do something for the love of it, it's in your heart, and not be concerned about paying the bills, you'll win every time. And that's why in my history, there were times when I had to diversify. I had to wait tables in restaurants. I had to load trucks for UPS because I wasn't cutting it and I had a family to take care of. And I knew I want to stay. I can't do this. Sure, it's my career, but I can't do it just for the money. Because if we go into survival mode, scarcity mode. A lot of ways to look at that. So please take a look at your workbook and let's move along. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be brave, and what I just ran through, I'm going to be brave and put you in breakout rooms. So say a quick prayer for me and for us with that. I've never set up breakout rooms with 100 people, but it's simple enough. Just to do this, you want to be on your video, and you want to be, you want to unmute your microphone also. And just real simple. What are you relating to? So you don't have time to socialize and introduce, let's say Maria and I were doing this. Hey, Maria, Ken, this is what I really resonated with and what Ken just shared with us. I've got to own my day more. I've got to take better care of myself and watch out for not overcommitting myself. Something that's like a standout for you, action that you want. I mean, you may have a bunch, but just one. So I'm going to allow about 3 minutes each, 1 minute to get settled. So within 7 minutes, I'm just going to close the breakout room. So honor each other's time. You have 2 to 3 minutes each to just express what that means. Is that fair enough? All right, let me just put this back. Somebody just try to get in. A few people just bolted because of the breakout room. Yeah. I don't hold anything back. I don't miss anything I watch. When we're in the class, one thing I can guarantee you is you get my undivided attention, and I make sure that you are getting it and you're going through. I'm there with you. It's very demanding on me as an instructor, but that's what you're paying me for in that class. So let me just...
And we get it.
For that. Bear with me 1 second. Why is this? Oh, hey, I'm sorry, guys. On my screen, it's usually right here, breakout rooms, and there's no breakout rooms. It's probably because I'm recording. Let me stop the recording, and then I'll send out a replay, but it'll be a couple of recordings together. Because this is really going to enhance it for you. I really want you to do this